Hello quilty friends and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel and I make videos about quilting and my creative life, and welcome back to another video in the sewing room. And this is going to be a video where we finish off the sewing room essentially, because there was one major job that I just kept putting off. But before I do that, let me give you a quick little tour of the sewing room so you can see what it looks like now that I've settled in. And we all know what that means. Now that I've spread out and filled the room, messed it up a little bit. So as I think you can gather, I have spread out a lot and I've made it homely. I've put little homely touches, but the one area that I wanted to finish today was this curtain pole that I've attached on really the only free wall that's available now. And the reason why I put this curtain pole up is so that I could turn it into a design wall with a sheet. If you followed my videos for a while, you know that I used to sew downstairs in my lounge, and there I had a polystyrene design wall that was covered in like a flannel type of fabric. So that's great, you could push pins into it and things. But here, because the largest wall in the room is essentially these two doors, which is my wardrobe and then a storage cupboard, it didn't leave a lot of free room to have a design wall. I have got a small space here. This area here is part of that design wall. I cut down the polystyrene sheets, which is just like an inch thick. You get it from B&Q here in the UK or your type of builder's merchants. You can cut it to size and then you just cover it in maybe flannel or batting, anything like that, and you can stick your blocks to it and it is brilliant. You don't need any type of pins, it just works on friction. Here on mine, here I did just nail it into the wall, probably only in about 8 places, not very far, because it is very, very lightweight. So it is a good way to have a design wall. If you've got a big clear space, this is the method I would recommend, because not only will it stick up with friction, but if you've got something larger, like a larger block that's got a bit more weight to it, you will need to put pins in it just to hold it up, just because it just won't always hold itself. But this is great for laying out smaller blocks, part of a quilt, but what I really wanted is somewhere that I could lay out a full quilt. So that's essentially where the curtain pole came from. So what I've done is I've bought a brush cotton sheet from Dunham here in the UK. We don't have flannel that's available as easily as it is in the States. So I think our equivalent really is the brush cotton. Now the brush cotton is going to give you that little bit of friction to hold on to the blocks, hopefully. Now I do know that you can get purpose made design wall curtains, and they do usually have a grid on it, but I didn't want that. The reason why I couldn't have that is because those are usually a curtain with an eyelet on it. So here I've had to put a bracket on my curtain pole in the middle of this because it is so long. So if I had one with eyelets on, it wouldn't go all the way to the side where I've got the excess where the curtain will hang. What I'm going to have to do to combat that with mine is I've bought from IKEA these curtain rings that have got hooks on them. So what they are these rings like just your regular curtain rings. And then included with them are an attachment for a normal curtain, but also these little clips. And what you do is you just simply hook that onto the curtain ring, and there you've got something that will grip onto a curtain or any piece of material that you put. So what I'm going to have to do is have most of the design wall at the one end where I've got the excess to hang the curtain, because here the rod goes right to the rail, and it was a design choice that I had. I either had the rod extending further and less cupboard space, or all of my curtain will go to the other side. So all I'll do is when it's not in use, unclip it and just take it to the other edge. The other reason why I wanted these is so that I can hang up a full quilt when it's completed, and I can have it showing in the background of my videos. So hopefully you'll get to see that in the future as well. Now you can get curtain poles from IKEA that have actually got 2 rods on them, so that I could have the design wall and the quilt up at the same time. So if this works well, I might opt to do that. I'm not sure if I will get on with the design wall that well, because there's going to be nothing behind it to push the blocks onto. So the rod is going to sit as far back towards the wall as it can, so that when I push the block against it, I will hit the doors. But that might just be a limitation of this type of feature. So first things first, I need to iron that sheet, because I know when I take it out of the wrapper, it is going to be very creased. And then I need to set all of these rings up, and we'll get it hung up, and we'll see how well it works, and put a quilt on there, because that's the thing. I've got a quilt that does need laying out. It needs that little bit of vision. So let's get on with that. Let's just give it a quick friction test. Will this hold a block? Oh, yeah, quite well. And just as a reference, when I bought this fabric for my polystyrene design wall, that's what I did. I took a piece of fabric to the fabric shop and tested how grippy it was. Well, now it's time to be up on the ladder, get these on. And if you're not doing DIY with your tiny little screwdriver from your sewing machine, what are you even doing? So what I really like about this curtain rod is you can actually push it back on the bracket so it goes closer to the wall, so it's kind of adjustable how far you have it hanging out. So that was one of the reasons why I went for this one. And then all you have to do is come up and tighten this little screw at the back of the bracket. And this just means that my sheet will now be as close to the wall as possible, so it'll be easier to press the blocks against the wall, I hope. Well, if I look flush in the face, that's because I am. That took a lot longer than I thought, and it was a lot harder work just getting the general configuration right. And if you've watched my video of making the first design wall downstairs, you'll know that I was even more of a flummox when I was doing that one. But this one, the way that I've done it is I haven't put the curtain over the bracket either end, so I can still get access to either of the doors. And its resting place, I think, will be in the middle of the doors. I'll have to move these mini quilts, I think, just so that they're not hidden behind here, which is absolutely fine. I can fill up my wall over there with them. Shall we lay out that quilt and I'll show you. I've been working on it now. I probably started it about 6 weeks ago, and I've kind of shelved it because I wanted to see what it looked like on a big scale. So let's have a look. And yes, I did spend all that time doing the ironing, only to bunch it up in my hands while I was trying to put it up there and crinkled it back up even worse. So the quilt that I've been working on, it's called the Twinkle Quilt by Cluck Cluck Sew, and I've been using Missouri Star's Hometown, Welcome to Hometown fabric range. They very kindly sent me a fat quarter bundle, and it's blues, oranges, yellows, florals, but with like a quilting theme. So here you might be able to see the background print is quilt themed. So it's a mixture of small and larger stars, and they do need to go together in a certain configuration. So I'm going to get some put up Just as a preliminary design, I haven't made all of the small blocks yet, so it won't be able to do the final layout, but we can have a look. Well, it sticks. Yay, I'm so happy that it does actually stick. Perhaps they will need reinforcing with pins. I don't know, I'll just see how it goes. If I need to open the curtain, I'll definitely need to be putting pins in. So if I'm going to leave it up there for a while, pins will need to go in there, because I can imagine my partner wanting to get into the cupboard and blocks falling. He wouldn't be in the good books then, would he? Well, I think this is as far as I can go with laying this quilt out today. It is a super busy one, isn't it? So that's why I need the design wall, so I can try and get a good balance of colour. I have made all of the large squares, but I've got a lot more of the small ones to make. I think I've only done around half of the small ones. But it is one that needs putting up. You need to make sure you've got the right distribution of colours, because I have used quite a busy fabric. The pattern does recommend mixing in quite a few solids where you can. I've tried to do that, but yes, when I make more of the small ones, I think I'll be able to break up the pattern a little bit, but let me know what you think in the comments. A bit of a different quilt from me. And the blocks did need pins. And that's just because I'm working with a movable surface. It's not flat. There's door frames, door handles. The whole thing moves. When you put another block on, you're going to move previous blocks. So although I stand by what I said, I think the best design board is the polystyrene one. You can pin into it. It's not moving. It's quite sturdy. It will hold blocks. I think these larger blocks on that board that I was using, I did have to pin, but smaller blocks like this, it will hold no problem. But this is a great solution for people who are in circumstances like mine. You've got doors in there, you've got windows, your space isn't always your sewing room. I think this type of design board has a time and a place, and I'm so glad that I have got one in my sewing room. It's going to be great for projects like this. And also when I'm sitting at my sewing machine, that will be in the background. Let's test it out. I'm really pleased with how that looks. I can just imagine when I've got completed quilts, I can hang them up there. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I actually bought way too many of the curtain rings. I had 30 altogether. I didn't need that many. I think I've probably used half, because every curtain ring I've now put a double hook on it, so when I want to hang a full quilt, I don't need to take that down. I can just clip the quilt over it. But you can't buy the clips separately from IKEA. From what I know, you have to buy them in this set, so I've got extra rings now. Anyway, look how flush I am. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, don't forget to press the subscribe button and leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this busy quilt. So until next Sunday, when we've got a very exciting update on the temperature quilt, I will see you then. And until then, happy quilting. Bye bye.